What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. I am the Poetic Killer, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Gemini. So, this is the last series of the four elements. So, we've done fire, water, earth, and now air. And we're in mutable air this time. So, we've done cardinal air, which was Libra, fixed air, which was Aquarius, and now we're in mutable air, which is Gemini. Now, Gemini astronomy wise, which is based on the season, right? Back before we had the clock, we had harvesting time, um, springtime, time to plant seeds and certain plants and things like that. So we had to look outside and, based on the sun transition, be able to calculate when each season are coming through. And we realized that everything is based on a cycle. So these things come back around, right? And there are different cycles, different times within those cycles. So that's how we're able to map out those things and realize, okay, this is what now we call, you know, um, the astronomy. Obviously it's more deeper now in terms of like learning about different galaxies and different planets and things like that. But just the simple understanding of it was based on learning what time to harvest, what time not to plant certain seeds and things like that, what time to go hunting, what time certain animals are around, and are available to eat, or what animals are available to herd that we can utilize for later consumption and things like that. So this is what we had before, technology. We had to learn about the outside world. Now, let's get back to astrology. Now we're talking about Gemini. Gemini is the third house, right? Gemini is the third house that has to do with communication because it's ruled by Mercury, right? Virgo is also ruled by Mercury, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury. But Gemini is more of the expression of communicating, while Virgo is more of the internal expression of communicating. That's why Virgos think a lot to themselves, right? Because it's the internal Mercury. It's not the external Mercury with your mouth. It's more of with the mind. That's Virgo, while with the mouth is Gemini. Just like I said, Aries will be the person showing their actual physical passion, right? While a Scorpio will hide what they're passionate about. Will be more indoors. Will be more uh yeah, behind closed doors. You know what I mean? It won't be something that is fully expressed in the day that everyone can see, like an Aries. So that's the different contrast of night and day. You know what I mean? Every planet has its night and day. Sorry. Every planet has its night and day. You know what I mean? So you got Mars, Aries, Scorpio. You got Mercury, Gemini, Virgo. You got Jupiter, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And Pisces is co-ruled by Neptune, right? Just like Scorpio is co-ruled by Pluto. And then you got what else? What Saturn, Capricorn, and Aquarius. You know what I mean? These are the different planets. Venus, Taurus, and Libra. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it works. There's a daytime for a certain planet, and there's a nighttime for it. There's an external expression of that planet, and there's an internal expression of that planet. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. So that's pretty much how it goes. Then let's get back to Gemini, ruled by the third house. The third house has to do with speech, communication, your local surroundings, things that are close to you. You know what I'm saying? That's what it has to do with. Um, it's more like things that are within your city, things that are within the pyramid of the physical plane. That's more Gemini. While Sagittarius is more outer plane. You know what I mean? They like to shoot out of reality. That's why you see the man with the arrow. They like to shoot out of the bounds of what is expected. You know what I'm saying? But that's a different video. But Geminis like to communicate. They like to express. So that's why you see a lot of rappers are Geminis. You know what I mean? A lot of poets are Geminis. A lot of um auditoires, people that like to have public speaking and things like that. A lot of them are Geminis because They're the daytime of Mercury, so they like to express what they're thinking. They like to say it out loud, while Virgo will more internalize that. Um, it's also, yeah, like I said, it's ruled by Mercury. Mercury has to do with communication, um, speech, different type of dialects, different type of languages. A Gemini will be very good at being bilingual. You know what I mean? A lot of Geminis probably will be good at that, learning different type of languages and things like that because they know how to communicate in a very unique way. That's one thing that Geminis know how to do. They're very good. They're very fast with their mind. You know, so they will be like the grandpa of the air. You know what I mean? Because I said all the mutables are like the grandpa and the grandmas of that element. You know what I'm saying? While the fixed will be more like, yeah, the parents, I guess, because they're like just they're focused on what they need to do to achieve what they need to achieve within that modality. While the cardinals will be like the younger child, you know, creative but very impulsive. You know what I'm saying? And there are times to be impulsive, and then there's time to be fixated, and then there's time to be mutable. So we all have these different elements, um, externally and internally. You know what I'm saying? So astronomy studying the seasons, astrology studying the seasons based on the internal energy. You know what I'm saying? So let's say if the sun is very hot during summertime, we're gonna know, okay, if the sun's really hot during summertime, what does that mean for us internally? Okay, that's where we get astrology. So the sun, what are the characteristics of the sun? The sun likes to shine. It likes to be the main center of attention. It is the main center of attention during the daytime. You know what I mean? It does shine throughout all different living organism, and we absorb the light. You know what I mean? So when someone's charismatic, you're absorbing their energy, you're absorbing their talents. You know what I'm saying? So this is how it goes. So that's how we came up with astronomy and astrology. But um yeah, talking about Gemini, they're very good with their words. They're very quick witted. They're very intelligent. They're very logical because Mercury is more of the logical side. While Jupiter is more right brain. It's more of like creativity and just out of this world type of thinking. You know what I mean? It's not something that is communicated day to day. Um, I would say, yeah, in terms of jobs, Gemini's, yeah, like I said, anything that has to do with speech, anything that has to do with creativity, um, and just learning how to communicate with others, they'll be very good. Maybe even interpreters, like stuff like that. Sign language, um, yeah, speech. I don't know what they're called. People that speech therapy, yeah, people that help people to learn how to speak again. So things like that. Gemini's will be very good at that. Like I said, rappers, artists, poets, all those type of things. Anything that has to do with Mercury, anything that has to do with thinking and communicating, they'll be very good. Yeah, they know how to communicate with others, but also have time for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Gemini's know how to do that because they're mutable. So you being mutable, you know how to see other people's perspectives without being them. You can kind of jump in their shoes mentally and see what they're thinking and then communicate to them what you know that they'll be into. You know what I mean? So Gemini's know how to do that. They know how to see people what you're already into, and then um once they know what you're into, they know how to build off that. So that, yeah, they know how to really communicate with people. While like an Aquarius will be more of focused on their thought and how they like to be. They don't like to follow the crowd. You know what I'm saying? They don't even like to see other people's perspective, except if it's something that they know will be useful, that Saturn energy, for their stability in the way they perceive how they need to perceive things. So that's how it goes. Um, but yeah, in terms of relationships, Gemini's will be good with Sagittarius. I feel like they're both very inquis okay. They're very both mentally curious people. So they like to ask questions. They like to have ask a lot of questions and figure out what the answer is. So they're sapiosexual type of people. They like to be stimulated in the mind. You know what I mean? That's really will get them going, whether it's good conversation, just about day to day things, or something intellectual that they haven't learned before, and you put them on game. Gemini's will really like that. Um, in terms, yeah. So Sagittarius, I would say people who are also flexible, because Gemini's are kind of similar to Sagittarius. They don't like to be caged in, especially in relationships. Gemini's like to be they like to come and go. And when they find that person that they can be mutable with, they can be flexible with mentally, and that person can understand their dual nature. You know what I mean? That's why it's the two twins when you see Geminis, because they can wake up on the other side of the bed one day and then wake up on the other side of the bed the other day, depending on their mood and depending on what they're going through at that time. So it depends. But if they can find someone that can understand that, I would say maybe like, I guess maybe Pisces also. But is water, so I don't really think water and air go together, because I feel like air see things more of business level, while water see things on more on a personal level. So I wouldn't really, except if they're into something creative together, and that's what they are. They're in a relationship just based on creativity, and that would really do well maybe on celebrity level, but not really mundane people level. Um, I would say Gemini's also go well. Yeah, Sagittarius and um trying to think someone else who's like chill. I guess Aquarius, because they're separate sexual. They can go well with Aquariuses. Gemini's can go well with Aquariuses. Even though Aquariuses might not like the too friendly energy of a Gemini, but I think they can figure it out. You know what I'm saying? They can definitely figure it out. But anything that has to do with, yeah, the mental, that stimulates the mental, Geminis would do well with. And Geminis, I guess, if they want to learn, if they're a mature Gemini, they can do well with a Virgo, because they're both Mercury, so they like to think. But that's a Gemini that is willing to have some form of stability in his life, or his or her life. That's what, or else the Gemini will escape from that situation. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. If you guys gain a little something new, we're gonna start off with the planets. So we might start off with Mars in the first house, and I'm gonna go through from the first to the 12th house in one video. So it's gonna be a bit longer from now on, but yeah, hopefully we can get them all through. But until next time, guys, I'll catch you soon.